We have a once in a lifetime transit happening this week. I'm sure you've heard about it unless you live under a rock, and that is Uranus entering Gemini. The last 3 times Uranus was in Gemini included the Civil War, the American Revolutionary War, and World War II. So this is quite a big transit, especially with so many celestial bodies in Aries currently. Venus at the end of this week does move into Gemini to meet Uranus. We could be noticing and feeling the collective energy is a boiling pot of water. The good news is I do believe that we have personal will, we have sovereignty, and we have the ability to create a different result using the same chemical equation. All that we need to do is to add different elements to that equation to go along with this Uranus and Gemini transit to get a different result. Call out the chemist in me, the hopeless romantic, the optimist. This is my celestial RX for this week, but let's go ahead and dive right in. For those of you who don't know me, hello, my name is the Astro Mama, and I bring the cosmos down to earth to help ground deep feelers, creatives, and mystics as a certified professional astrologer and a board-certified psychospiritual life coach. This week, I'm going to be sharing with you the astrological transits happening between April 20th and 26th, 2026, so that you can swim with the cosmic current instead of against it. We don't do any clickbaity astrology here. We don't do any fear-based astrology here. We don't do any sensational astrology here. We use real, tangible, grounded astrological knowledge so that you can apply it to your daily life and that you can use astrology to really get to know yourself on a deeper soul level, to get to know other people on a deeper soul level, to anchor in your purpose, and to remember that your soul chose to incarnate here on this earth in this lifetime. The astrology that I use brings you closer to your body, closer to the earth, and closer to one another than further away. I take you transit by transit, day by day. There are timestamps at the bottom if you want to click ahead to whatever date that you're watching. I like to watch forecasts like these at the beginning of the week and then go back through day by day and see how the energy was at play in my own personal life, but you necessarily don't need to do that. And I do skip days where there aren't any major transits going on, which is why you might see some open spaces. So welcome to Monday, April 20th. Mercury will be making a conjunction to Saturn today in Aries, and that exacts at 4:21 a.m. Pacific time, bringing about this more serious, intentional, and boundary tone to our relationships. In relationships in general, with friends, with business partners, with romantic lovers, we tend to err on 2 extremes. One extreme is the combative, attacking, judgy, reactive extreme, and the other extreme is really passive. By the way, guys, I'm going to try to talk as clearly as I can today, but I'm nursing a tooth infection, so one half of my face is swollen, and maybe that is alive in the astrology this week with Mercury conjunct Saturn, because that energy really asks us to be mindful of the words that are coming out of our mouths. My friend Lisa gave some advice this week around writing every email as if it's going to be on the front page of the New York Times. And there were times, I'm sure, especially when I was younger, where I was communicating with people in a professional manner and my communication was kind of not professional. I thought that I was being righteous and I thought that I was making a point, but instead I was just being rude. And I also, maybe more recently, have been on the receiving end of communication like that. And the truth is, when you are approaching somebody about something in a reactive, emotionally immature way, I'm just going to call it as it is, you will not get your point across. Because now this other person has to be acting from a place of protection. They have to have walls up, they have to have boundaries up, because they don't know if they can trust you with the information that you're conveying. So there's a sacred art to learning how to communicate in a non-violent way. And today is definitely the day to do that. Triple check all communications. Don't leave a lot of space for things to be interpreted that you don't want to be interpreted. Understand that if you want people to respect you, you will also have to respect yourself. If you want people to appreciate your time, you have to appreciate your own time. If you want people to appreciate your wisdom or your advice, you must do the same for yourself. If you want people to treat you with kindness, you must treat yourself with kindness. And manipulative people exist everywhere. I'm sharing this not from a paranoid perspective, but from a healthy, conscious perspective of somebody who has been manipulated in the past. Most deep feelers, creatives, and mystics, I think we've gone through this. Manipulative people will notice where your blind spots are. They notice where your weaknesses are, and that is going to be the place where they attack you. They know where your wounds are, and that's going to be the place where they hit you. So it's really important to have an awareness ahead of time of what your soft spots are, what your weaknesses are, where you are less strong, where your Chironian wounds are, so that you can protect yourself in a healthy way. And also, the more you nurture and love those parts of you and show up in service for them, the less impactful an attack from somebody else on that part of you will actually feel to be. On another note, this is a good day to reveal something that you've been working hard on. Saturn really loves to reward anything that takes hard work and discipline. Let's say that you've been learning a song on an instrument. Today could be a great day to record a video of it and share it. Or maybe you've been refining this TikTok video in your drafts, and today could be the day that you share that with your audience. Perhaps you've always wanted to start a blog and you've been writing on the side, and today is the day that you unveil that to the public. This can also be a great day to shed light on or to reveal some kind of written or spoken communication, some one-to-many form of communication, I would say, you've been chiseling and working hard at. Maybe it's an event that you're announcing, something like that. That way it can now be seen by others. And when Mercury conjunct Saturn is in effect, we tend to also look for authority figures. We tend to be more drawn to people with wisdom. We tend to be more drawn to learning from our elders and people that we trust. This is all very important as well, because later on today, Mercury in Aries will be making another conjunction, which is to Mars. And this alignment happens at 14:44 military time. I love that. Or 2:44 p.m. Pacific time. But when we think about the energy of 444, 444 really asks us to bring things down to our physical vessels, to the way that we treat our bodies, to the way that we show up in the world with our routines. It might be the Mars and Virgo in me calling this out right now, but many of us, we float around in the dream space of visualizing and noticing and being, but we live in this physical world and we can align our energy with that which we want. That's true. But if we're only focusing on energy, then we're not going to get anything back. This is the time to kind of check yourself and let your actions back up your words. That being said, please remember that words matter and energy matters, and your words can be used to build people up, to lift people up, to highlight voices that are doing beautiful things. And they can also be used to tear people down and to destroy. When you are communicating something, a little practice you can do. First of all, notice how my voice just changed. My voice changed because I entered into my heart space and I spoke from my diaphragm. You can take a few deep breaths. So you're taking a deep breath and you're noticing what it is you need to communicate. And then you're imagining that energy going from your head down to your heart. And once you get clear on what it is you want to say, then those words are coming out through your heart and your throat, not your mind and your voice. So you can tell when somebody's really speaking from an embodied place because their tone of voice changes. Usually it gets deeper, not always. Usually it gets deeper because, our culture likes people who talk like this. And we like to talk up here, right? And talking up here sometimes can be authentic, but I'm noticing even as I'm talking up here, this pitch, I'm running out of breath. I literally can't breathe. Slow things down, speak from the heart today. And I think that will be just the medicine that you and whoever's receiving your communication needs. Welcome to Tuesday, April 21st. The moon enters its domicile in Cancer today at 10 a.m. Pacific time. It will stay here for the next 2.5 days. And this is a very cozy energy. Cancer energy, it's represented by a crab, which has a hard exterior, but also has this soft, mushy interior. And this is a great couple of days to cozy up with a blanket, to find ways to nourish you, the people that you love, the environments you love, and to come back down to what truly matters. Cancerian energy is so great at having a value system. And there's a way in which one can ensure that the physical environment that you're in is really aligning with who you are. And also, if you've been burnt out or exhausted, or somebody in your life has been burnt out and exhausted, this is a great couple days to really nurture yourself, nurture that person, to make a home cooked meal. So many of us, I know myself included, when we get busy, we just go through a drive-through, or you pop in a frozen dinner or a frozen pizza. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, at the end of the day, you have to nourish your body. And we are so lucky that we have food readily available to us in our society. Many people all over the world don't have access to food and clean water. And also, we rush through what is supposed to be this really sacred act of nourishing yourself. I think the reason why so many of us are resistant towards, let's say, slowing down to cook a meal from scratch, or to slow down and actually eat that in a nourishing way, is because we're very disconnected from our bodies. Maybe you feel like you aren't worthy of taking a rest and taking that space. But this is the kind of energy of noticing when you are putting everything else before yourself. And there is a time and a place for mindful self-sacrifice. But this is really a time to say, you know what, the rest of the world can wait, and I'm going to sit down and cook myself a nice meal. Or those emails can wait till a more proper time. I'm off the clock now, and I'm going to take a bath. And any kind of systems that you can anchor in today for the next 2.5 days or so that have to do with boundaries could be so lovely and nourishing at this time. In short, while the moon is in Cancer, take a bath, take a child's pose, kiss your cat, and just know that this energy is really supporting your sacred rest and nourishment, as well as the sacred rest and nourishment of the people, animals, plants that depend on you too. But you can't pour from an empty cup. It's kind of giving like Queen of Cups energy. Let's fast forward to Thursday, April 23rd. The moon enters Leo today around 12:41 p.m. Pacific time. And this is a very playful, bubbly energy. Leo rules the 5th house of creativity and children and romance and entertainment. This is a great day to show out, especially with the sun being in Taurus, because Taurus energy really values, not necessarily being in the spotlight, but Taurus energy values things that are bougie, and Taurus energy values things that are fancy. This is like a good day to maybe, for example, get a manicure, or purchase a piece of clothing that is of high quality, of course within your means, but maybe it's a little bit more of an investment, or it's not how you would normally spend your money, to allow it to be an art of self-expression and expressing yourself in a way that is more aligned with who you're becoming versus who you've been. I feel like with the sun in Taurus and the moon in Leo, it's kind of the vibe of throwing out your high school jeans and buying a pair of jeans that are more aligned with who you are now. This energy also really encourages us to be unique. This is backed up by another transit happening today, and that happens around 8:58 p.m. Pacific time. Venus will be making a conjunction to Uranus at the aneretic degree of 29 degrees. And when Venus is conjunct Uranus, sometimes we experience electric shocks, upheavals, or surprises when it comes to beauty, love, and finances. So a great way to work with this energy today is to unlock your own unique expression and to get ahead of that. Meaning, what does it look like to let the world see a part of you that they haven't seen before? To dye your hair purple, or to try a new date idea with a beloved. And also, I will say this is a little bit of a restless energy. But a lot of the times when we feel like leaving a job or leaving a relationship, of course, with somebody who isn't necessarily abusive, but maybe you feel like there's no spark, or maybe you feel bored with your eating healthy routine, so you stop eating healthy. Well, what does it look like to shake it up? What does it look like to liberate yourself from whatever the vibration is of that experience right now that's no longer serving you, and to bring in a sense of newness, or at least attempt to, in those areas of life? So maybe instead of throwing out all of your clothes and going and buying a bunch with fast fashion, maybe you'll go and invest in like a cool belt, or you learn how to tie-dye, and you tie-dye some old shirts. In your love life, maybe instead of leaving your partner because you're feeling bored, you plan a spicy new date night, or you buy like those conversation cards where you like start talking about things you wouldn't normally talk about. Maybe with your job or with your business, if you're feeling restless, try something new. Try to write your report in a different font, or try to have a funky, cool latte while you're working, or change your website colors or something. Like, you don't always have to burn down whatever's happening right now, because you're feeling restless within it, you can find ways to bring in new energy to those spaces. And understand too that we have true limitations in our life. That's true. And also we have self-imposed limitations sometimes. So for example, in business, maybe you think, I have to post on social media every day in order to be successful, or I have to go to 6 networking events every week to be successful, or I have to hire a website designer to be successful. I'm not saying that those things aren't helpful, but you have to check yourself. Uranus, the great liberator conjunct Venus, is going to ask you which of those supposed opportunities are actually limiting me from the natural rhythm and way that my business is supposed to support our world. I know plenty of people who have successful businesses and don't have social media. I know plenty of people who have successful businesses and they only do things online. I know plenty of people who have successful businesses and they design their own websites, or they don't even have a website. Getting clear on what is actually aligned with me. I love creating content. Like, I really actually enjoy it. If I had more childcare, I would honestly make more content. It's something I've always loved to do. I've always wanted to be a YouTuber. I've always wanted to create things. I used to do social media management and I really enjoyed it. And I just feel like it's creative and it's fun. And usually it's free or very low cost to make. And I like that. I like creating. And there are some people who hate it. They literally hate it. Well, my advice to you is, if you hate it, why do it? Nothing that you hate is going to be sustainable. There might be some other things that I hate that I don't do all the time because that's not sustainable in my business. Take that analogy and bring it to any area of your life of not what does everybody else want to do, but what do you want to do? And follow that rhythm, follow that flow. And as long as you're consistent with it, it will eventually over time be successful. So continuing this great liberator, this eccentric vibe, this authenticity vibe, then Venus will be entering Gemini tonight at 9:04 p.m. Pacific time. It will be there until May 18th. Between now and then, I would encourage you to find ways to take a playful, communicative, and friendly approach to love, beauty, and finances. This is a great time to do some kind of class with your hands. If you're on a date, go to a cooking class, or go to a massage class, or go to a pottery class. Learn an instrument, something like using your hands, as Gemini rules the hands. This is a great time as well to change up whatever it is you're doing, to get out there to do some networking, creating content, speaking, writing. All those Gemini-like things will be encouraged at this time while Venus is in Gemini. Venus in Gemini energy values friendship and adaptability and curiosity. This might not be the mushiest, most romantic time for love. How can you cultivate a really good friendship with the person that you're dating or with your beloved? I've been able to get deeper faster with platonic friends. Maybe you have too, because I feel like there's less pressure, whereas with people I've been dating, or even my husband sometimes still, it's easy to think of like, well, what will they think of me if I say this thing? Or if they get to know me in this dimension that only my friends get to witness, will they still like me? Will they still be attracted to me? You go on the internet and we see so many videos and people talking about how to seduce your partner, or you have to be more secretive or private. Like, have you ever seen those videos that are like me? It's like me trying to be like mysterious or something, but like Gemini energy is not really mysterious. Like Gemini energy is like, I'm just going to be myself and I'm going to tell you what I think. And also, before you poop all over Gemini energy also understands that you are going to be you and that you're just going to do whatever. I think it's one of the most open-minded signs of the zodiac. It's mutable air. That's why I think a lot of people feel safe with Gemini energy, because Gemini energy is you do you and I'm going to be me. Try to find a way to bring that energy into your love life. Get really curious about the person that you are connecting with. Curiosity and playfulness will go a very long way. This is also a great time for single people, if you're looking for love, to do something like a pitch a friend workshop, or speed dating, or even like a good old-fashioned dating app. Any unique, conversational, and community-oriented ways of meeting somebody could be really beneficial right now. And if you're not looking for love, try to bring this energy into your platonic friendships. Plan a friendship date where you and your friends go and attend a comedy show. I have a friend who recently hired a magician for a birthday party. I think that is so funny. I loved hearing that story of the party they had. Bringing like laughter and joy and play into your friendships. I wouldn't be surprised if most of us aren't focused on romantic love right now anyway, because like I said, Venus Gemini energy isn't really focused on that. It's more focused on connection and laughter and curiosity. and sharpening our intellect and being able to share that with other people. For business, networking and social media are amazing right now. Again, any environment where you can show people your intellect, show people your genius, and then receive that genius and intellect from others will be supportive. If you are finding yourself in these positions, try to focus with Venus and Gemini on the solutions that you provide instead of the problems. Popular marketing advice says something along the lines of like, speak to your client's pain points, speak to the struggles that they go through. Venus and Gemini doesn't really want to hear that. Venus and Gemini wants to know kind of like, well, what's in it for me, or what are the positive benefits? So find ways to speak about what you do and how it can improve somebody's life and give them more motivation and clarity and energy. This is also a great transit for small talk. I know my deep feelers, creatives, and mystics, you guys probably aren't going to like that, but it's a good art to practice and to learn, because we do live in a world where maybe you don't even want everybody to know your deepest parts of you. And this is a good time to evaluate the connections in your life and who gets access to what parts of you, and also what do you contribute to the different parts of the people in your network. Lastly, tonight at 9:36 p.m. Pacific time, Mercury in Aries will be making a trine to Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius, and this is happening at 13 degrees. My new rabbit hole is degree theory. And in degree theory, 13 degrees represents an Aries or Mars-like degree of leadership and power and authority. Black Moon Lilith resembles the parts of our collective society and ourselves that are like the dark underbellies. They're the parts of us that we don't want to be. They're the parts of us that we don't want to have seen by others. So the parts of us that we are scared. And I've talked about this before, but Lilith's journey through Sagittarius to me could be a lot of people that we put on spiritual or philosophical pedestals falling. These people that we've labeled to be like gurus, or people that we've thought we could trust, like even whole church organizations or politicians or anybody that we put on some kind of pedestal. And also, so with Mercury making a trine to Lilith, in these fire signs at this degree, I could see some sensational information coming out today. Something really jarring, especially around somebody or group of people that, again, have been idolized by one. The benefit of somebody in power falling from grace that you've put on a pedestal is the reminder that the only person that should have agency over your life and your decisions is you. It's within your heart. And this is a good transit to think about the guru within you and the steward within you and the boss within you of your own experience. It's also a good time to step fully, if you haven't already this week, into your fullest, most creative expression. And if you have any good girl, good person conditioning, maybe even some religious conditioning around taking up space and being honest and feeling like you have to people please others, this is the time to really nip that in the bud and to leave that in the past. Welcome to Saturday, April 25th. If I had more time, I would talk about this transit for 100 years. Maybe at some point in the next 7 years, I'll do a deep dive. But for now, I am going to chat a little bit about Uranus today and how Uranus is entering Gemini. Uranus will be in Gemini for about 7 years. And this alignment truly begins at 5:50 p.m. Pacific time. This is a really big deal. A lot of people will be making this out to be a big deal, I'm sure, on the interwebs, because it is a big deal. Like I said, Uranus changes signs every 7 years. The last 3 times Uranus was in Gemini, we had the American Revolutionary War, we had the American Civil War, and we had World War II. Uranus and Gemini also gave us the first computers, the first translators that supported with the beginning of the railroad system, mass printing, and photography. So there tends to be this theme with Uranus and Gemini of destruction and rebuilding. I think about the Civil War, Reconstruction era, dismantling, destructing systems that were maybe outdated, that were maybe oppressive, that were maybe limiting in some way, so that there can be space to create something more innovative, more expansive. There has also been misinformation tied to these transits, thinking about propaganda more specifically in World War II. And with the Civil War and the Revolutionary War, I was thinking about information lag, somebody getting a note and being on horseback and they're supposed to deliver it to some general in another part of the country, and they don't get there in time to let them know that I don't know, their opponents are coming to attack them. In 2026, we might be experiencing major advancements in communication, major advancements in technology, but there's also the underbelly of that. I'm thinking about AI right now. We're coming up against some really big friction around data centers and the communities that they're taking over and the amount of water and resources that they're using, but also the collective need to be able to do things quickly and produce, because we're in late stage capitalism and there's all this pressure put on people of output, 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 do it quicker, do it more immediately. Yeah, listen, I recently started very minimally using AI in my business. I've been really against it from the beginning. Now I utilize it very minimally. But that's what I think about when I use it is, okay, where's this pressure coming from that this thing has to be done so quickly that I can't take my time doing it? And it's usually somebody on the other end is needing it more quickly. But we have to start to look at, as a society, what does it look like for us all to evaluate what is actually really important? Is me being more productive in my professional life more important than the status of the earth and on people? Whatever it is, like we might notice there's like this friction. There could be informational warfare, something like I could see foreign governments interacting with our information we receive. I could see us doing that with other people. I hate to say it, but propaganda, things like that. So it's really good to anchor into your critical thinking skills and think about an issue that you've noticed in our collective world throughout your life, and what's the one solution, a part of the solution that you feel like you could bring. This is going to be the energy that's rewarded when Uranus is in Gemini. We need the innovators, we need the thinkers, we need the weird people that are genius, and we also need to ensure that we are continuing to communicate with each other. When we are in such a polarized world, it's really easy to cut people off because of their views. But what ends up happening is then everybody separates into these echo chambers where they're only being fed this algorithm that just supports what they believe. And if you're in an algorithm and you believe something positive and beautiful and loving, that's great. What if you're in an algorithm where people are telling you to hate certain groups of people, where people are telling you to commit acts of violence, where people are telling you, that your lack of success is a result of a certain group of people? Then what, right? So we don't want to push people further into these hateful algorithms. We need to be able to create a space for them to come back and continue anchoring in love. Of course, in a way that is safe for you. Stay curious during this transit, stay sharp. Like I said, there's so much more I could talk about with Uranus and Gemini, but because I am short on time, that's where I'm going to leave it for now. And we'll continue to talk about it because Uranus is going to go through Gemini. It's going to aspect different planets. It's going to have different alignments. Uranus and Gemini isn't going anywhere. Later tonight, the moon enters Virgo at 6:05 p.m. Pacific time, making this a great evening to book the doctor's appointment that you need to book, clean out your closet, go to the gym, and just really take care of and serve the mundane parts of your life that feel not important, but are actually really important. And they feel not important because you don't see results right away, but over time you do. Welcome to Sunday, April 26th. So Venus and Gemini will be making a sextile to Neptune in Aries around 10:42 a.m. Pacific time, and also around 11:32 a.m. Pacific time, Mercury in Aries makes a square to Jupiter in Cancer. All in all, with those two transits, this is a beautiful day to cultivate optimism, a spiritual perspective, a creative outlook on things. This is a great day to dream, to daydream, to make the vision board, but not necessarily to take any actions yet, especially any long-term actions. Like if you decide in your vision board that you want to move to Bali, today might not be the day to sell your house, okay? We want to have this higher vision, but also try to find slower ways to get there. I know it sounds cheesy, but right now I'm thinking about weight loss, and trigger warning if this is something that you struggle with, like eating disorders or weight loss or anything like that. But I have been on an intentional weight loss journey for a while. I mean, I gained 60 pounds when I was pregnant. I technically lost it all. Now I'm trying to do body recomp, whatever, blah, 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 but in a very healthy, detached way. And something that I've learned is that studies show that the slower rate that you lose weight, the more likely that you won't gain it back later. But our society, diet culture and everything is lose as much as you can, do this thing, anything that you do, okay, that requires extreme measures, you have to ask yourself, how am I going to maintain this? If your business requires you work 60 hours a week, how long are you going to be able to do that for? If your fitness goals require that you work out 7 days a week for 2 hours, how long are you going to be able to do that for? Or that you live off of 1,000 calories a day? Like, at what point is your body going to completely deteriorate and shut down? So you need to ask yourself with your goals today, I can dream this big dream. My daughter's chasing around the dog right now. It's so funny. But you could think this like big dream and just think about like, how can I reach that in a more sustainable way? This is also a great day for just like the dreamers and the artists and the creatives. Like pick up your guitar, pick up your paintbrush, create, and know that the universe is supporting you in that dreamy expression. That is your Astro weather forecast for the week. I'm sending y'all so much love. Again, I'm the Astro Mama. I bring the cosmos down to earth to ground deep feelers, creatives, and mystics. Thank you so much for watching this forecast. Let me know in the comments below if it resonated with you. And if you want to go deeper, I do offer personal readings. I do readings on couples and individuals, transits, natal charts, all the things. I'd be so happy to support you so you can swim with the cosmic current instead of against it. I'll see y'all next week, and I'm sending you so much love.